Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
beautiful. How are you?
I want to say I'm well, but I don't know that that would be answering honestly today. So I am glad to be here. I felt like we needed a little more of a dance in. I may start letting our dance ins be a little longer.
I'm not against it.
All right. Give folks a chance to join us who are joining
Yes,
us live and
yes,
let us just get embodied and a little more grounded.
of
So
course. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. But let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Shannon Mitchell. Whoop, whoop. I am a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shalo Glow LLC, a handmade shea butter company. I'm your advocate for natural self-care and practical business systems.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreau, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, and together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the eight dimensions of wellness.
Yeah, we like to get together every week, hopefully, if the co-host can talk, and
Mm.
chat about how do we do this. How do we put together all our wellness and our wisdom for business and relationships and life, right?
Yeah,
Because life happens,
every day.
right?
Yeah,
So how are you, my friend? Let's check in and say hey and before we
yeah.
jump into our topic today, because I know it's one of your favorite topics. So
Yes, I am good. Like you said, glad to be here. I constantly think about the relationship between, um, or how we say holding both grief and gratitude. And every week this year, since we've been here, it's 5 seasons of it, there's been both every week. So I am so thankful for everything I have going on. I'm tired, but I am so excited about the things that I'm doing that are making me tired. So it's a great place to be.
oh, I so resonate with that. I'm tired today too. I just came back from a vacation, which we talked about on
Ooh,
the last show.
yes.
It was wonderful. And, I know this is going to sound funny, but one of my favorite things about vacation is coming home. Like, I love going places, I love
Mm,
experiencing and having adventure. But I also love coming home. That may
yeah.
be my sign because I'm a Cancer,
Mm,
and I love my space and I love my things. And of course, I love my puppy, who
mm.
has grown. Oh my gosh, I have to
I saw
send
the
you a picture,
picture. I
Shannon.
saw online.
Oh,
It's so cute.
he's ridiculous. We'll have to put a picture up on Women Connected in Wisdom because
Yeah.
Monty is a half Scotty, half Corgi. He's a Scorgi, and he looks like a corgi wearing a Scottish Terrier costume. Like
That's
that's
funny.
really like what he looks like. But he was so happy to see us, and of course, I bought him a souvenir, and
Mm,
I bought him this new collar, and he
mm.
is just looking so handsome. I'll have to take a picture of it and put it up on our
Yeah.
social media so folks can see Monty.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'm tired because you know how when you travel, well,
Yes. We
I am an
haven't been
early
traveling,
bird
but yes.
usually, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an early bird. And so I picked an early flight home because I would rather get home and sleep in my own bed. And
Yeah.
I would rather get home earlier than later.
Mm-hmm.
But that meant a 3 a.m. wake up call
Ooh.
to make a 6 a.m. flight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little early even for me. And
Yeah.
then travel all day and make it home. But there's nothing better to me than sleeping in my own bed. Now, I'm privileged because I have made my bedroom like, to me, I have the perfect bedroom. I have blackout curtains, and I
Yes.
have a comfy bed and I have my comfy pillows and I got back to this beautiful fall weather in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So it was perfect temperature for sleeping last night.
Mm.
It was delicious. So that's,
Good.
I mean, and my body is rebelling a little bit from all the lack of sleep and travel, but
Yeah.
grateful. I got to spend a week with my sister and my nibblings. And can I tell you, I just don't think there are any smarter or cuter kids out there. I know that somebody may disagree with me, but ridiculous, Shannon.
Good.
Ridiculous. And how much
I
my
love that.
spirit is full from
Mm.
getting to spend time with them. And yeah, it was good.
Good. Yes, I
What
can't
about
wait to
you?
go to Mexico. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about, how do you pronounce it? Tulum. I've been thinking about there, but I'm open. I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't did we announce last week that I was in Mexico? But that's where I
Oh
was.
no.
Oops.
Now we're telling
So
you.
it's okay. Well, I was going to tell a story and I kind of edited myself, but I will tell the
Hmm.
story. So today, when I FaceTimed with my nibblings, who are
Yeah.
two for our listeners that don't know, they're 2-year-old twin boys, and we were in Mexico to celebrate my sister's birthday and their life because that is that my sister went to a fertility clinic down in Mexico. And that is where her babies come from. And so I got on with them FaceTiming this morning and said hello. I said, I can't even remember if I said hello or hola, but one of them was like, hola, tia. So they have called me Tia from the beginning to differentiate
Oh,
me because I
yeah.
am their one biological aunt, but
Mm.
they have such community and have created such community that they've
Hmm.
got a lot of aunties. So to
Yeah.
differentiate me as their one true aunt, they call me Tia. And
Hmm.
so it was super fun to be in Mexico with them. And it was just such a joy. But yeah, they got on today, just hola Tia. And my heart, I just melted, right? I
Yeah.
know we're not talking about emotional wellness today, but it does
Yeah.
my heart good to have
But
those babies
still,
in my life.
still,
Yeah.
to be able, when I think about trips, I think about being able to afford the trip. One,
Yeah.
I asked my brother last night how much he wants to spend. He was talking about going to UCLA and going to Miami. I said, okay, Starson, how much do you want to spend on each trip? He said, I'm sorry, parents, but I'm gonna have to break the bank. I started laughing.
Now
When
he's
did you
how
get
old?
so funny? Six.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And he
I
said
love
he
that.
needs $10,000 for each trip.
Okay. All right.
That's
You
what I
can do
said.
a
I said,
lot with
okay,
10,000 because I did not spend that much on this trip. I
exactly.
just want to say to everybody, including my husband, that I did not spend that much on this trip.
Exactly. I'm like, what type of trips is Thurston trying to take? But I like it, but you got to be able to afford the trip and then
Right.
afford to work, not have to work. And that's
Right.
what we talked about last week with the different policies and things that are changing right now and things that we try to pay attention to and stay abreast on is how does um, the work environment change our financial position and how does our financial position change the amount of breaks that we can take, right?
So we're talking about financial wellness today, and I
Yeah,
want to. Do we want to give the definition before I give a
of
travel
course.
tip on financial
Yeah.
wellness?
Yeah,
Because,
let's do it.
all right, you give the definition, and then I'm gonna give you one of my best
Okay. I got
financial
my
tips for travel.
I got my pen ready because I plan on
All right,
taking a lot of trips.
let's do it.
Okay. So capturing a complete definition of financial wellness is tricky because it means different things to different people. At its most basic level, financial wellness is a holistic approach to counter financial illness. This holistic approach includes a combination of factors such as satisfaction with current finances, increasing positive financial behaviors like saving, reducing debt, and budgeting, financial knowledge that helps to change behavior, reduce financial stress, and creation of a financial plan to reach desired financial goals.
All that,
Yeah, and more.
all that, and more.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
It's so complicated sometimes, but since we're talking vacation and
Mm.
since we're talking that, let me tell you about one of my now I'm frugal. Some
Mhm.
people even say cheap, just to be
Okay.
honest.
I
But
like frugal. I like
I was
strategic,
I was
financially
hanging out with my
strategic.
sister this week and I said something about being frugal. She said, "You call me cheap because I'm just like you are." But
That's
one of
funny.
my favorite travel and financial wellness tips is scottscheapflights.com.
Mm,
You can get a free membership or you can pay, I want to say it's 40 or $50 a year. And they do amazing deals to the best destinations and you can save up to 90% on
mm,
flights. So what they do is they search for crazy good deals and
mhm,
you're kind of on their email list. So they will tell you. And if you're on their pro account, you put in the destinations that you're interested in going to,
mhm,
and like when a mistake fare happens, because sometimes airlines make mistakes, and so
mm,
you can get it while it's posted, right? So I joined them a couple of years ago. A friend of mine turned me on to them. And so what I started doing is saving a little money in a travel account. So
Mhm.
if one of my destinations pops up like at a ridiculously good deal, I can snag it
Mhm.
because you really can save that much money.
Mhm.
And I know it's a little tricky because of the pandemic right now. So I also buy travel insurance because it's usually worth it for sure. Um, but you get free flight alerts. So they tell you, like, and also if you have a job or a way that you can have the weekend off, there's a
Mhm.
lot of times last minute deals where if you can jump on a plane and go somewhere, you might be able to have a cheaper experience doing that than having a night on the town where you live.
Love it.
So there's things like there's way, and of course, some of this is freedom, right? It's freedom
Yep.
from job. For me, I haven't had that freedom because I've been raising kids
Mhm.
until right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a little excited about this, about having the freedom that if a crazy good deal pops up, I might be able to go somewhere,
I
right?
love that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw this post earlier on Instagram. This woman went to Iceland by herself. She was like, "Yep, I decided I wanted to go, and by that night, I was in Iceland."
Right? Oh, Iceland pops up all the time on this thing. Like
Mm,
and I've had friends go to Iceland because it's so cheap. They say the
mhm.
food is expensive though. So have a
Okay,
food budget
got
because
it.
so many things have to be imported in. But if you were
Mm,
going for the weekend, you could probably let's do it. You know,
mhm,
I had actually made that a reward for myself with another friend a couple of years ago. If we met a certain weight goal, but it has not been met
ooh,
yet. So I have
okay.
not gone to Iceland
But
yet.
you're going to Iceland. That's where you
Because
wanna go?
yes,
Okay.
this was a pre-pandemic weight goal. So I'm giving
Okay.
myself a little grace, right?
Mhm. Yes,
But yes,
absolutely.
Iceland is on the list for sure.
Definitely.
What else is on your list?
Oh, so Africa, of course, multiple places in Africa would love to
Yeah.
go. I would love to go to all 50 states. I would love to go to Thailand, Dubai, um, Iceland, definitely Greenland as well. I want to go to the colder climates.
I think I should have asked you, where do you not want to go? Is there any place that you
I don't think I would be heartbroken, and I might be wrong, but I don't think I would be heartbroken if I don't go to North Korea, right?
Okay.
Or if I do not go to, I don't know. Is London in Great Britain? I do want to go to London, but I wouldn't be heartbroken if I don't go to all of the different
Right.
European countries. I'm
Right.
okay. But I'm definitely still interested. That I don't know. That's
Okay.
definitely a shorter list.
It's a
I'm
hard
down
one for
for
you because
everywhere.
you are an adventurous spirit like me.
Yes,
Like I am willing
absolutely.
to go. I'm willing
Yeah,
to go and check something out. Now I might
yeah.
not be willing to go back to a place twice,
That's
right?
important. Yes,
Right? Now there's some places I would go back to over and over again.
yeah,
Like there are some places that have a special place in my heart. But
definitely.
what do you look for? We're off the topic of financial wellness, but I'm going to ask
We
this
can get
question
to it.
before we get back to it. What do
Yes.
you look for when you go on vacation? Like, are there
Oh.
certain like, because some people say like you take a food vacation or you take
Mhm.
an activity vacation, or like I realized I look for beauty, most
Mhm.
of the time natural beauty, and I
Yeah.
look for artwork. Like I want to
Mm.
see the local art. Oh, and I'm definitely food. I mean,
Mm.
so
We
those
gotta
are the
eat.
things,
Yes,
right? And you might as well eat good food while you're someplace. But
definitely.
so those are the things that I budget for when I'm going on
Mhm.
vacation. Like if I'm
Mhm.
yeah, I brought home a little bit of art, not much because I was packing light, but
Yeah.
I love local arts. And my sister taught me this years ago too. She's like, when you're going someplace, buy yourself a piece of clothing or something. Like it doesn't like I don't bring home traditional souvenirs, but like I
Mm.
needed a hat while we were there because the sun was ridiculous. And so I bought
Mhm.
this gorgeous hat that was my souvenir because I'm like, it was local, it was gorgeous, and I can use it again because I'm all about functional art. It's my thing if I
Yeah.
stack things on top of each other. So
Yeah.
look, local art and it's usable.
Mhm. Supporting artists, right? Yep.
Right? All of
Yep.
it. All of it.
Yep.
Just like win, win, win.
Yep. love when I like that win-win-win situations, not just win-win
Right?
situations. Yeah.
What do you look for?
Definitely natural beauty. I loved watching the monkeys run across the telephone line in Costa Rica and zip lining upside down in the rainforest is like still unmatched. Okay. Um, I love good food, even though I won't always do the due diligence at meticulously searching restaurants in their area. I'm not going to do that, but I'm also invested in we're going to eat good food and I know there's going to be places for us to find. Outside of that, I really try to have the organic and the natural experience. That's one of like
Yeah.
Airbnb definitely has me on the whole be at home no matter where you are type of genuine experience of the area. I love that. So
Yeah.
the first time I went to New Orleans, I went with my friend that I was living with at the time, senior year in college, and we stayed with her friend. And it was definitely like an authentic experience in the house that her grandfather built right
Mm.
down the street from the French Quarter. Get a po' boy at a gas station or something. It was amazing.
Oh, I
You
I
know,
pretty much know that gas station. I know what you're talking
exactly.
about.
Yes.
Did
So I
you
love stuff like that.
did you remember that we were in New Orleans before we left?
Yes. How
So
was
yeah,
that?
our listeners probably don't know it because I was keeping it on the down low, but
Yeah.
I had to go to get my passport renewed because y'all, I went and it was not a last minute thing. I had gone weeks ago to get my passport renewed, planning for this because this was a celebration of life, and so we'd been planning this trip for 6 months, not knowing if it was going to happen with the pandemic or not, and we were watching the numbers and everybody got tested. It was all, we were really as safe as we could be in this environment. And I had gone months ago to get my passport renewed, and they said the passport office is backed up. It's not going to happen in time, or you could spend all this money and you still may not get in time. So what we need you to do is just wait until 2 weeks before your travel date and go and do the overnight and pay the express and da 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 da. It's like, all right,
Mhm.
I didn't even think about it. No worries. We're here in Atlanta. We can run down there and get it. And I feel like I've told this story before. So if
Mhm.
I have online and we've got
I
repeat
don't know.
listeners, my apologies. But so we go, I couldn't get a hold of them. I finally get a hold of them. And they say the closest place to get your passport is in New Orleans the day before you fly out. I was like, all right. Forced me to go to New Orleans and have some food, good food before I had to leave on vacation. So got there
Mhm.
and my last name's Gautreau, y'all. This is where my my husband's family is from. This is where our people are from, and we love the culture. We love the food. So we get there. I check in with my alternate roots family that I have there that are artists and activists, and there just happened to be an opening of a show
Mhm.
that I had seen when it was under development at a
Mhm.
conference years ago, and they were opening it in New
Wow.
Orleans for the first time. And I got
Mm.
to snag the last 2 tickets. So
Mm.
we got our passports. And can I recommend to anybody the New Orleans passport office? Like
Mm.
those folks were lovely. We got
Mm.
there 20 minutes early for our appointment. They got us in. They said, give us your phone number. We'll call you when it's ready. It was ready in 2 hours. And then we got to go see the opening of the show that was an eco experience. So
Mm.
it was on the Mississippi River. It was gorgeous. I'll put a link to that show. It was phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, just couldn't have asked for better. Food, family, friends, like what?
Flights. Yes.
Flights, like all of it, all of it. I don't know
Yeah.
about y'all, but my soul needs adventure. Like I
Yeah.
have an adventuring soul. And so when we talk about that in regards to financial wellness, like how do we do that, right? And
And
that's
and I
about having the budget to budget in those adventures.
but it's also about everything that you just said, and I think
Right.
that's the beautiful thing about wellness and how it weaves into all of our situations. What you said, planned, so you plan things. You had a
Yeah.
traveling money that you have been putting aside. That also means that you were making money and you were intentional about how much you needed to make so that you could put it aside,
Oh
and
wait. Side note there.
mhm,
Plan for more.
got it. No, really though. In both the budget, because I need some more room too, but also an abundance budget. What about
Right.
traveling and traveling to all these places that you
Right.
thought you could never go? What if you go to Scott's cheap flights and now you're good. And so that money for your flight could go to your souvenir, and now you can have a great time.
You bringing that up, Shannon, is
Mm.
something I talk about with my private coaching clients. Because when we talk financial wellness about a budget, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes, and this sounds overwhelming. I don't want people to get overwhelmed, but it's a
Right.
fun exercise. Sometimes
Mm.
I have people do 3 budgets, and they don't
Mm.
have to be full on out budgets, but like
Okay.
I have people do your survival budget. Like,
Mm.
what do you need to survive? What do you need to bring in every month? And how are we going to get you there? I have a budget that is your comfortable budget. Like you are not only you're surviving, but you're thriving. You're comfortable. And then I have your manifesting opulent. This is if you win the lottery or you're an overnight success, which most people who are overnight successes have worked for 10 to 20 years without blinking. But, that budget, like what's on that dream vision
Mm.
and creating that vision board or creating the budget, you can
Mm.
do it. It depends on who I'm working with, if they're analytical or visual or, how
Mm-hmm.
they look at things. But we can create and manifest in different stages also,
Mm.
right? And be grateful for what we have and also talk about what else we want to bring in.
I love that. And it's
Yeah.
really important, like it's who said it? It might have been Dave Ramsey. He was talking about how people get so anxious about looking at their bank account like people do with their report cards. And I said,
Right.
"Oh, I get it." Because again, I was an honor student. So report card, I was fine. I knew I did the work. I knew what my scores were. I wasn't worried about it. The bank account, the first time I was salaried, I couldn't tell you how often I looked at it.
Mhm.
So now knowing that, that's one of my self-sabotaging habits I've been very intentional about not doing. Check your bank account, know where the numbers are. And I'm so
Mhm.
glad that I've been doing that because subscriptions hit, they might be about to end and I need this program. Or I actually have a little bit more money. What do I want to spend it on? Or where do I want to put
Mhm.
it?
Mhm.
Um, and especially when we talk about the opulence budget, and I think we talked about it before, what is it called, Lord? When you have the abundance budget, this is how much you have. Where is your money going? You still need the skill to be able to tell it what to do,
Right?
or you're either going to lose the amount of money that you make, you're not going to make as much, or it's not going to be used effectively. And that's not what I
Well,
want.
and I also think our priorities change,
That
right?
too,
As our
absolutely.
lives change or as we grow or as
Once a
I
month,
haven't
yeah.
really had a travel budget because I've been busy
Hmm.
raising kids.
That's a great point.
And now or sometimes I have a work travel budget because I'm going to work.
Mm.
We weren't a family that took vacations growing up. Like
Hmm.
my husband and I were just having this discussion, and I'd be curious about our listeners, like what their family patterns of behavior are. Because our
Mm.
family pattern of behavior, we grew up in Texas and we would drive places.
Mm.
I don't remember flying until I was for my senior trip. Well, actually, it was my graduation present that my aunt gave me, and she lived in California and flew me out there.
Right.
But we drove places, and when we went on quote unquote vacation, we went to family members' houses to help them. So, like, we would go to
Mm.
my grandfather's farm, and it would be a
Hmm.
vacation from our regular life, but it wasn't like what you see as a vacation. It wasn't what I
Right.
just had, right? It
Right.
was you were working. Like, we
Yeah.
built a house, we would work on the
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah. Y'all are
It
manual
was
labor.
fun
Yes. Yeah.
because we would get to go fishing
Of
and we would
course.
usually take a lake day and we might even do a little camping, but there was always an element of work attached to it. And I think that's growing up. I mean, I think it's different cultures. Part of it is we had a family that needed help. And so we would do big projects together as families. We would support each other. And I don't think there was a lot of money in the budget for going different places.
Yeah.
But I was married several years and my husband looked at me and said, "We're not doing that." And I'm like, "We're not doing what?" He's like, "We're not working every vacation week." That's
Mm.
not a vacation.
No, really. Yeah. Good job, Joe. Setting the
Right?
boundaries. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm still not very good at it sometimes, I have to
I
tell
me
you.
I have to work on it too.
Right?
Yeah. I get it. And that makes a lot of sense. what did you say? How did you say it? You said family's pattern of behavior. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely saw trips for work. I saw trips for school. When my dad was sick, my stepmom at the time was in her doctorate's program. So
Mhm.
we were driving to Fort Lauderdale 4 times a year so she could be there in person for her checkpoints and things she needed to do. Um, but I also was going on church trips and learning stuff and going to the beach and socializing and disconnecting from technology and being out in nature, So I think I realized early on, like I need to take at least one trip a year, at
Ooh,
least one, and
nice.
I would love more than that. And so far, honestly, I think I've done a pretty good job, especially in my 20s, at taking trips. Now, what I look forward to is already having the money aside and being able to do it in a wise way and not genuinely not worry about anything and not trying to move
Right.
money over or figure out how I need to be able to
Right.
do it and do it in a healthy way is what I'm working on now.
Right. I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. I think it's challenging sometimes when you didn't grow up with it to
Mhm.
be able to vision it,
Mhm.
right? And so I'm always grateful for the people who have showed me how to do that along the way, who
Yeah.
have said, "Oh, this is what a vacation looks like," or this. I'm embarrassed to say to folks, but
Mhm.
like Joe and I really haven't ever taken a vacation. Like it's
Mhm.
always been attached to work or it's been attached to um a family event or we've
Mhm.
always had fun along the way.
Of
And even
course.
this was attached to a family event because it was for my
Mhm.
sister's birthday. So
Mhm.
that's the next goal is just a vacation for the sake of a vacation.
I love
Um,
that.
you know, it's I think it's my papa. Even as I said that, I saw my papa, who is my paternal grandfather. That man was so frugal. He would take us out to eat once a year as a family.
I think I remember you saying that.
That man did not talk about financial wellness. Now, there were so many positives because he could save money like it was nobody's business. But we also got the message that you don't talk about money. He did
Mhm.
not talk about money. He did not spend money. He saved his money
Mhm.
and he was very frugal and he would take us out as a family once a year. This is probably why I love Mexican food because it
Mhm.
was always to a Mexican restaurant. I didn't think about it until I was grown and I realized Mexican restaurants were usually cheaper than any.
Mm.
This man could I adored my papa. And yeah, it was interesting. He was a saver and my grandmother was a spender.
Mm.
And when we had our guest Lori
Yeah.
on, you remember the
Of
money
course.
coach, she
Yes.
talked about that there were two types of people, savers or
Mhm.
spenders.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting like how many people are married to their opposite sometimes or
Yeah.
in relationship with somebody.
And I think it's important, especially now. Last week we talked about occupational wellness, how much we work, especially in America, the culture of having to go get it and hustling and
Mhm.
constantly uh, working from a place of, in my mind, I think about it as scarcity, right? Oh, I need this. This is what I don't
Right?
have. Let me run and get it instead of from a place of rest. So,
Right.
in order to have both, I think it reminds you to keep the whole picture front of mind. Like, yes, we can go on vacation. Of course, sometimes it's for family, but babe, sometimes I need us to do nothing, like nothing together. And yeah, so we have this article that we were talking about before the show, and it talks about putting a budget together and having it be a family activity. And as I go through, it reminded me of the financial peace program that I'm working through with Dave Ramsey. And that's literally what it says. Sit down with your spouse, sit down with your partner, and have the person that's the saver make the budget because they know where it should go, know how much the expenses are. Usually they're on top of the numbers. But then the spender has to change something so that they can use their voice, right? And you guys are genuinely working together and just change it a little bit, change one thing. I needed to add more money to my gas budget. Last month I said it was going to be $75. It was a little bit more. I'm driving more now. So as I step into a position of driving more, like you said, with the budget need changes, what the budget, yeah, I think I said that right, what it needed changed. So I just adjusted it. And doing that together can help you both feel like you're part of the decision making. We're doing this together and get you on the same page to really work towards the financial wellness. Because when you have a hole in the boat and we're trying to fill it up and get somewhere, that's why couples and households tear apart with different prioritizations based on different points of life. And now we have this whole thing.
Yeah, well, they talk about financial stress is one of the number one things couples argue about is spending habits. But yeah, that article you referenced is at greenpath.com. And I put the link in our comments, but we'll also put it in the show notes. And the Budgetnista is, she's an author, a New York Times bestseller of Get Good with Money, which we'll have to talk about that on the next financial wellness show because you and I both just got the book and we follow her on Instagram. So she has helped over 1 million women collectively save more than $250 million and pay off over $200 million in debt. So we're going to invite her to come on Women Connected in Wisdom and have a conversation with us because she was instrumental in getting the Budgetnista law passed in New Jersey that makes financial education mandatory for all middle school students in the state. How powerful is that? Talking about women making a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name is Tiffany, and she's the Budgetnista, and I look forward to hopefully having a conversation with her.
Yeah. And
Oh, you're on mute, my friend.
What I love about the medical students is when you first told me that, I think about how managers are in restaurants, right? And I think sometimes the way that the staff works together is because of the stress, because of the financial stress of these individuals. So I'm working so hard, I'm working all of these hours, but I don't have time with my family, or I don't have time with my parents, or I don't have time to do what I want to in my life. But you're thinking about constantly every step you take, the effort that you're putting out and the things that you're not getting back. So it affects your workplace, what you do, and the people that you do it with. So I can only imagine our health professionals and all the work that they've put in, the years of study and the long hours taking care of people. And we talk about how caretakers are in jeopardy and in danger, not only because of their immune system, but because of the stress and how everything goes into each other. So I think it's great that she did that.
Well, and the financial piece of caretaking too. Like there's a lot, most caregivers in the United States are not paid caregivers. They're family caregivers. And so a lot of times they are taking care of people that, there's extra mouths to feed or there's extra, we've had this conversation on the show before, how our healthcare system is broken. And, I wanted to do follow-up from what we talked about last week on the show. So it just came out today that Nancy Pelosi added 4 weeks of paid family and medical leave back into the social spending bill. So thank you for everybody who reached out and called their legislatures. And I think we continue to do so if you haven't had a chance to say that we support the Build Back Better plan, because they need to hear from us. It is an important piece of legislation for women and children especially. And it's called Build Back Better Act. And it still needs our support in the House and the Senate for getting it passed. So I'll put a link again to reach out to our legislatures in our show notes.
So we had an election day yesterday. Do we know when the next election day is?
Well, it'll depend on where folks live. It will depend on where folks live because sometimes there's municipal elections. Our next big election is probably not for another year. But there's different county elections sometimes, and there's some runoffs coming to Atlanta that from the elections yesterday. There will be some runoffs. And that's what I encourage everybody. I don't want to speak to it like specifically because it can get confusing, but Google, because a lot of times what will happen is the elections that happened yesterday, look up your county results or your local municipal results, and they'll let you know if there's another election, because oftentimes folks miss that. And that goes right with financial wellness and what we're talking about, because especially the local elections directly impact us. Because like we were having city council elections, and one of the things that was, to me, that was on the ballot, one of the candidates I voted for was talking about affordable housing. And what goes into that is also like local laws and legislation about, can you have a mother-in-law suite? Can you do an Airbnb? Can you do a shared driveway? All of those decisions come from the local ordinances. And so, yeah, it may be great financial wellness to run an Airbnb, or at least it was before the pandemic. But if your local laws say that you can't, that directly impacts you, right? So all of that stuff, sometimes when folks say, oh, politics don't matter, oh, they matter in our everyday lives, especially our local politics, which is our city councils and our county commissioners. And, Gwinnett County right now I was just reading an article about them trying to decriminalize marijuana, and they're in a gridlock about it right now. I think we just lost Shannon. For our listeners that are watching live, hopefully she'll be back with us. And for our listeners that are in audio, it may just be my voice for the next few minutes. So today we are talking about financial wellness, and here she comes. We were talking about financial wellness. I was just giving our listeners the update that we lost you for a second, a little tech issue. So glad you're back. Welcome back. Woo! This is a good time, since you just popped back on, for our listeners that are watching live, or might be watching our replay on Facebook or YouTube. Will you stand up just a little so they can see the awesome shirt that y'all have on? And for our listeners that are listening, I'm going to describe this shirt to you. It is a beautiful light gray shirt with a gold bird on the front of it, which is the Shalo Glow logo. And on the back, can you show everybody your back?
Yes.
On the back, it says subscribe and save at shaloglow.com. It is such a fun, talk about financial wellness. You are wearing art and your business at the same time.
Yes. Art,
I love it.
My business, my friend's brand, let's live life unlimited, right? So if I'm going to give money to these big brands, of course I'm going to give it to the brands of the people that I know. And that's Women Connected in Wisdom, making these businesses collaborate and work together.
Right? Will you put your friend's brand in under the post under the comments, so folks can get that, and I will also put it in the show notes. So she made that shirt for you for Shalo Glow,
yes,
right?
She did. Yep, she makes shirts and for birthday parties and masks and all different types of stuff.
What?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes. What is happening over at Shalo Glow, talking about financial wellness? What are you up to these days?
Oh my goodness, so much stuff. So right now, can you still see me while I type this? Okay.
Yes.
So right now, we are releasing 5 new products. So this is mine. You see, it's not labeled or anything. I've been using it. This is the 4 ounce. Instead of the 4 ounce, I doubled the size. So we're going to bigger sizes for the home glow kits. We're going to have 8 ounces for the sugar scrub, 8 ounces for the shea butter, and 4 ounces for the oil. And for the travel and glow, for the smaller sizes, we had 2 ounces before. Now, again, we're giving more products. So now we have 3 ounces. That way, you're safe for the TSA requirement of no bigger than 3.4, but you're getting as much product as possible. We have the 2 ounce oil, and then we have the 3 ounce shea butter. So the travel and glow kit, the home glow kit, both in 3 ounces, 8 ounces, and mango madness and lavender vanilla. So we're doing a lot. The ladies asked for sizes, scents, and what else? Those 2 things, and we're doing all of it at the same time.
Yum. That sounds amazing, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's been really good. People have been getting both the oils. They've been getting different sizes and different things based on if they're about to go on a trip or if they've been waiting for the 8 ounce. So I'm really excited about it. And we rebranded. So we have new labels and new product names. So the Scrub and Glow, the Glow Oil, and the Glow Butter are what they're called. So we can tie the brand together. And so the guys can be incorporated. Of course, it's important that our ladies take care of ourselves, but it's the whole family. And that's really the vision of Shaylo Glow. So whole family intentionally taken care of every day. And I love being
And
able to make that
glowing
happen.
from head to toe, right?
From head to toe, yes, because you entirely taken care of, just like the 8 dimensions of wellness. We got to be well rounded and completely taken care of.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been listening. I'm participating in, but I've also been listening to some talks over at the Hearts Wide Open teleconference. We've got some
Yes.
friends of ours that have been guests on the show that are talking over there too. Cecile
Hmm.
Armstrong, Tracy Reese, and
Yeah.
it is a global conference that's happening today. It was started on the 1st and it's going through the 5th, and it's
Hmm.
called with
Hmm.
heartswideopen.com. And I'm going to put that in the show notes so folks can find it, because I think you can go over and listen. It's free to listen live, and I think there's a small fee if you've missed something and you want to check in. But I think it goes with what we're talking about. What popped into my brain is because when you talk about Shaylo Glow, which is
Yeah.
part of your financial wellness, it's your company, it's things like that.
Yeah.
I just see your heart expand. Like I
Hmm.
see you shining and glowing
Thank you.
from head to toe.
Yeah.
So it made me just think about that. It was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, she's living her best life. So
Yeah. And that's what I love, and that's what I think about when I think about financial wellness, because it's really not just about the money. There's a lot of things I can do for just money, but I love making sure that people are okay, that they're taken care of. That's what I do as a
yeah,
manager. How are you doing today? Checking in with people's family, checking in on whatever
yeah,
they need for work. But I don't really care about these sugar packets. I don't really care about sugar packets. I care about you and your life. And so I love being able to do that and do this podcast. It's been great.
right. Well, I love that too, my friend. I love chatting with you about wellness and chatting about how do we do it. That
Yeah.
when I teach my class on Tuesday mornings, my co-author and I, Sheila K. Collins, we have a class on Tuesday mornings for radical self and community care. And one of our taglines, or one of the things we always say is, well, I'll just give you all a little hint of what we do every week. One of the things we
Yeah.
close it out is with a ritual where we type in the chat books one thing we're committing to for self care and one thing we're committing to for community care. And the reason we do that is because we say you don't have to do self care by yourself. It seems like the opposite because it's titled self care, but we can do this in community. And that's how I feel about Women Connected in Wisdom podcast and the community, is that together we can help each other be accountable. We can help support each other. With financial wellness, it's one of those things that's hard to talk about because a
Yeah.
lot of times there's a lot of shame around it. But if you don't, like, I didn't know a lot about it, so I feel like, yeah, I'm really ignorant about this. And
Yeah.
but there's experts that help us, and there are people that we can read books by. You and I just ordered
Absolutely.
our book from the Budgetnista, so we're going to talk about
So
that on another
excited.
podcast, and we're going to hopefully have her
Yes.
come on. So,
Yes.
yeah,
And can I say that it makes sense why we don't know a lot about it? Not only like what we said, our parents' behaviors and the way that the other generations were set up. Other generations had pensions. They had people taking care of their retirement for them. So it was kind of sold as a thing that you didn't have to worry about. So now when pensions aren't in place and 401ks have been the way that they are, people don't know how their money is invested or even how to be strategic about it. Of course, it's going to leave a whole generation, and especially people who were left out of the education part of it, left feeling that way. So a few decades ago, women weren't even able to have a credit card without a male cosigner. I
right.
wouldn't have been able to start a business online 150 years ago
No.
would have
Mm-mm.
been completely different. Okay,
Mm.
so
No.
it makes sense of why when you look at especially the difference between personal finance and business finances and tax strategies and liabilities versus assets, it's all like I don't know what you're talking about. So we
Right.
have to be intentional about our education on it. But together, me and my best friend, we're going to have a tax day. I want to get ahead of the tax numbers. We're going to sit down in a room together and go through our expenses, go through our revenue, and get everything organized.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
well
And
done, my friend.
thank you. And I had actually put it on the day to celebrate my mom's life. Yes, because that was coming up. So I changed it though because of boundaries. I said, you know what? Maybe I don't need to mix these two together. I know I'm off, but I don't need to operate again from a place of you got to get this done at a certain time. No, let stuff have the space that it needs, and then you can completely focus on the numbers and have your mind there. So that's my wisdom in action this week while we're talking about financial wellness is updating my expenses. I have some stuff to organize from this huge launch that we're having, all this production that we've been doing, putting some money into the economy, right? I need to organize mine and get ready to get these tax numbers organized. That's what I'm working on.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes,
My wisdom in action is I'm going to call Lori, my money coach, because I think
yeah,
I have a session with her that I need to finish that I had to
yeah,
cancel, talking about holding grief and gratitude. I had lost somebody.
yes.
And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to circle back around as we're coming into November. How the heck did that happen?
We are
I'm kind
here.
of looking at wrapping up the end of the year with finances and my business and things like that. So I'm going to call and make an appointment and get some support on that and
Yeah,
finish out the year strong with,
yeah,
what do I want to be in the present and wrap this year, but I also want to be looking towards next year about what do I want to create.
yeah.
So you and I next year can go to Bucieras
Bucieras.
and celebrate women connected wisdom. Maybe even having a
Yes,
retreat there. Like that would be delightful. So that would be super
it
fun.
will be
It will
delightful. We will
be,
all dance in
yes.
the same room. Maybe we have some tea and chocolate like you always talk about. You know, I've got a lot of ideas.
Oh, those gift baskets would be off the chart as
I'm
far
just
as
saying glow kits, you
you right?
know,
What?
just we
What?
I'm
What?
excited.
I love it, my friend.
Yes,
I am so delighted to have this conversation with you. I look forward to next week.
yes.
I think we're having a guest co-host next week.
Actually, yes,
All
yes. I will
right.
not be
So
here, guys.
we will see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But in the meantime,
Yes. In between time, be well, be wise, and be whole. We will be back next week, 11 5.